Hi there. We're on to chapter 24 of A Course in Miracles. And this chapter is called The Goal of Specialness. So this chapter is all about specialness. And there's a short introduction. We're going to start with the introduction, and then we're going to continue to section 1, which is called Specialness as a Substitute for Love. Here we go. Introduction. Forget not that the motivation for this course is the attainment and the keeping of the state of peace. Given this state, the mind is quiet, and the condition in which God is remembered is attained. It is not necessary to tell him what to do. He will not fail. Where he can enter, there he is already. And can it be he cannot enter where he wills to be? Peace will be yours because it is his will. Can you believe a shadow can hold back the will that holds the universe secure? God does not wait upon illusions to let him be himself. No more his son. They are. And what illusion that idly seems to drift between them has the power to defeat what is their will? To learn this course requires willingness to question every value that you hold. Not one can be kept hidden and obscure, but it will jeopardize your learning. No belief is neutral. Everyone has the power to dictate each decision you make, for a decision is a conclusion based on everything that you believe. It is the outcome of belief and follows it as surely as does suffering follow guilt and freedom, sinlessness. There is no substitute for peace. What God creates has no alternative. The truth arises from what he knows, and your decisions come from your beliefs as certain as all creation rose in his mind because of what he knows. So that's the introduction. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Now this is the first section, and the first section again is called Specialness as a Substitute for Love. Love is extension. To withhold the smallest gift is not to know love's purpose. Love offers everything forever. Hold back but one belief, one offering, and love is gone, because you asked the substitute to take its place. And now must war, the substitute for peace, come with the one alternative that you can choose for love. Your choosing it has given it all the reality it seems to have. Beliefs will never openly attack each other, because conflicting outcomes are impossible. But an unrecognized belief is a decision to war in secret, where the results of conflict are kept unknown and never brought to reason to be considered sensible or not. And many senseless outcomes have been reached, and meaningless decisions have been made and kept hidden to become beliefs now given power to direct all subsequent decisions. Mistake you not the power of these hidden warriors to disrupt your peace, for it is at their mercy while you decide to leave it there. The secret enemies of peace, your least decision to choose attack instead of love, unrecognized and swift to challenge you to combat and to violence far more inclusive than you think, are there by your election. Do not deny their presence nor their terrible results. All that can be denied is their reality, but not their outcome. All that is ever cherished as a hidden belief to be defended, though unrecognized, is faith in specialness. This takes many forms, but always clashes with the reality of God's creation and with the grandeur that he gave his son. What else could justify attack? For who could hate someone whose self is his and whom he knows? Only the special could have enemies, for they are different and not the same. And difference of any kind imposes orders of reality and a need to judge that cannot be escaped. What God created cannot be attacked, for there is nothing in the universe unlike itself. But what is different calls for judgment, and this must come from someone, quote, better, unquote, someone incapable of being like what he condemns, quote, above, unquote, it, sinless by comparison with it. And thus does specialness become a means and end at once. For specialness not only sets apart, but serves as grounds from which attack on those who seem, quote, beneath, unquote, the special one is, quote, natural, unquote, and, quote, just, unquote. The special ones feel weak and frail because of differences, for what would make them special is their enemy. Yet they protect its enmity and call it, quote, friend, unquote. On its behalf, they fight against the universe, for nothing in the world they value more. Specialness is the great dictator of the wrong decisions. Here is the grand illusion of what you are and what your brother is. And here is what must make the body dear and worth preserving. Specialness must be defended. Illusions can attack it, and they do. For what your brother must become to keep your specialness is an illusion. He who is, quote, worse, unquote, than you must be attacked so that your specialness can live on his defeat. For specialness is triumph, and its victory is his defeat and shame. How can he live with all your sins upon him? And who must be his conqueror but you? Would it be possible for you to hate your brother if you were like him? Could you attack him if you realized you journey with him to a goal that is the same? Would you not help him reach it in every way you could if his attainment of it were perceived as yours? You are his enemy in specialness, his friend in a shared purpose. Specialness can never share, for it depends on goals that you alone can reach, and he must never reach them or your goal is jeopardized. Can love have meaning where the goal is triumph? And what decision can be made for this that will not hurt you? Your brother is your friend because his father created him like you. There is no difference. You have been given to your brother that love might be extended, not cut off from him. What you keep is lost to you. God gave you and your brother himself, and to remember this is now the only purpose that you share. And so it is the only one you have. Could you attack your brother if you chose to see no specialness of any kind between you and him? Look fairly at whatever makes you give your brother only partial welcome, or would let you think that you are better off apart. Is it not always your belief your specialness is limited by your relationship? And is not this the, quote, enemy, unquote, that makes you and your brother illusions to each other? The fear of God and of your brother comes from each unrecognized belief in specialness. For you demand your brother bow to it against his will, and God himself must honor it or suffer vengeance. Every twinge of malice or stab of hate or wish to separate arises here. For here the purpose that you and your brother share becomes obscured from both of you. You would oppose this course because it teaches you and your brother are alike. You have no purpose that is not the same, and none your father does not share with you. For your relationship has been made clean of special goals. And would you now defeat the goal of holiness that heaven gave it? What perspective can the special have that does not change with every seeming blow, each slight or fancied judgment on itself? Those who are special must defend illusions against the truth. For what is specialness but an attack upon the will of God? You love your brother, not while it is this you would defend against him. This is what he attacks and you protect. Here is the ground of battle which you wage against him. Here must he be your enemy and not your friend. Never can there be peace among the different. He is your friend because you are the same. Okay, so let's go back to the introduction and let's just talk about, the Jesus really puts it all in a nutshell here at the beginning of this chapter. Forget not that the motivation for this course is the attainment and keeping of the state of peace. So, in other words, the goal here is peace, the peace of God. You can have it here in this world. You don't have to wait till the next life. And there is no next life, in reality. There is only the eternal now. And the eternal now, in that eternal now, you can experience, even though you are in a world of change and impermanence, you can experience that peace here. And that's a very important thing to keep in mind. This is not impossible, is what Jesus keeps saying. You think that this is impossible. What he's asking us to do, but it is not impossible. And remember that Jesus in the Gospels says, all things are possible for God. For humans, maybe not so much, but all things are possible for God. But if we're one with God, and if there's no separation with God, then it's possible for us as well. Given this state, the mind is quiet and the conditions in which God is remembered is attained. So in order to remember God, so you have to get to this place of peace and the quiet mind in order to remember God. Otherwise, you will not. And how do you get to this state of peace? Let's read on. He will not fail. Where he can enter, there he is already. And can it be? So God already, God is everything. God is the only reality. God suffers no illusions like we do. God is already in that state of eternal peace and eternal love, and is just basically waiting for us, so to speak, to return to that. Where he can enter, there he is already, and can it be? He cannot enter where he wills to be, meaning that we will all get there. That's an illusion too. We're already there. So, but the awareness of that is coming for all of us who seem to be separate, right? But the most important one that it's coming to is you, and you are everyone. That's also an important thing to keep in mind. You are not separate, which means that you are everyone. Peace will be yours because it is his will. Can you believe a shadow can hold back the will that holds the universe secure? God does not wait upon illusions to let him be himself. No more his son. They are. There's somewhere in one of the lessons it says God is. Here it says that God and the Son, which is you, which is all of us, is. We are. And what illusion that idly seems to drift between them has the power to defeat what is their will. So the ego has no real power. The ego is nothing, and ultimately, the ego will be dissolved. To learn this, this is the second paragraph. Now this is very, very important. And Jesus is gonna, I'm sure he's already harping upon it in the following section, but also throughout the course, which is this: to learn this course requires willingness to question every value that you hold. Not one can be kept hidden and obscure, but it will jeopardize your learning. No belief is neutral. So, what he's going to go into is that when he says value, he also means belief. The reason why we are not getting this is because there are things that we're not even aware of. There are beliefs that we're holding, values that we're holding that we're not even aware of, and we have not looked at them yet. If we did look at them, it would be that much easier to let them go and to realize that they're in the way. But as long as they are hidden, we don't know what they are, right? And so we are apparently suffering from forces outside of ourselves, but the reality is it's all within you. There's nothing outside of you that is causing your problems. It is only things within yourself that you have not questioned yet. You have not seen and you have not questioned. No belief is neutral. Everyone has the power to dictate each decision you make, for a decision is a conclusion based on everything that you believe. It is the outcome of belief and follows it as surely as does suffering follow guilt and freedom sinlessness. There is no substitute for peace. What God creates is no alternative. The truth arises from what he knows. And your decisions come from your beliefs as certainly as all creation rose in his mind because of what he knows. So again, the main point here is we have to question every value, every belief. We cannot do that until we recognize what those are and see that what we have kept hidden from ourselves so that we did not have to deal with it, and we did out of fear, basically, we keep it hidden from ourselves so that we we don't have to deal with it because it's scary, it's threatening to the ego. So anyway, let's go on. Specialness is a substitute for love. And this is all about specialness. What is specialness? Specialness is basically the feeling that we are separate from our brothers and from God. Okay, but mainly the focus here is on our brothers, the other, outside of ourselves. And what we do is we attack what is outside of ourselves. Let's just take another person. We attack another person. We feel inferior. Most of the time we feel superior, and we feel that we are justified to attack them because they are somehow stealing our peace. But the reality is that we have already done that to ourselves, and they're just showing us that we're not at peace. As long as we see them different from us, and that they do not have the same interests that we do in finding the peace of God, then we will be at war with them. And in being at war, we will basically be in a vicious cycle that we will not be able to get out of unless we do some kind of introspection and bring things to our awareness, right? So so he goes into that there are hidden beliefs, right? We have hidden beliefs. We have hidden things that we don't look at. All that is ever cherished as a hidden belief, to be defended though unrecognized, is faith in specialness. So this is really the main thing is that we are special. And specialness means we are somehow better, right? And we are somehow in a place to judge others. And Jesus, keeps reminding us, no, you have no pot to piss in. You have no place to judge, no way to judge anything or anyone, and you're going to feel so much better when you stop judging. But you will not stop judging until you start to look at, these hidden beliefs and the hidden parts of our mind that we're not even aware of. Only the special could have enemies, for they are different and not the same. Right? What God created cannot be attacked, for there is nothing in the universe unlike itself. At one point, it mentions the grand illusion, which I was mentioning. Is there a connection with Hindu philosophy in any of this? Any mention? Possibly this is, the grand illusion. Mahamaya is the grand illusion in Sanskrit. Could this be an echo of that or a mention of that? I don't know, but possibly. Obviously, talking about illusions are all throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita also talks all about illusion, what is real and what is illusionary. So that's another connection. Would it be possible for you to hate your brother if you were like him? Now, if you really understood that what we share far outweighs any differences, any surface differences that we have. And what do we share? We share the same mind. We share the same ego mind, and we share the same Holy Spirit that is within us as well, which is the Christ consciousness as well. And those are part of everyone's minds. And we all have an interest in returning home again. And that's the most important thing. And everything else is actually really not real. It's only surface differences that delude us. But the reality is one. You know, we are one Son, the one Son of God, all of us together. So the specialness is an attack on our brother, but also on God. You know, that's another point throughout. And the main thing is, and maybe we'll end with this, is that we really cannot get back to God unless we deal with our brother. You know, we can't, as has been said, if you don't see God in all, you don't see God at all. If you don't see the sameness between you and your brother and all others, your mind will not be at peace. You will not have fulfilled the condition for the peace of God, and thus you will not remember God. And you know, and that's the bottom line of this. So if you want to remember God, if you want to have that knowing and that inner awareness that is with you always, then you have to find your way to peace, and you can't do it without your brother. So that's all for now, and we'll continue tomorrow with the treachery of specialness. See you soon. Thank you.